You don't expect a Prius to turn heads. You don't expect it to make you feel anything. Really, at least not in the way a car usually can. You expect quiet. You expect efficiency. You expect to save money, and maybe the planet a little bit, while you're at it. But the moment we walked up to the 2025 Prius on day one, it gave us something else entirely. Hesitation. Not because it looked boring. No, quite the opposite. It looked good. Too good. Low-slung, sculpted, with a bold face and nightshade black wheels that whispered more performance coupe than tree hugger mobile. And that's what threw us. Was this really a Prius? The first turn of the key, or in this case, the first press of the start button, was silent, as expected. But the interior? That was the first moment the script flipped. We were greeted, not by the usual plastic-heavy dashboard or basic knobs, but by a futuristic cabin that felt like it belonged in something twice the price. The center screen floated like a glass tablet. The digital gauge cluster was clean, bright, and sat high, right where our eyes naturally landed, no head bobbing to find speed or status. The seats, yes, they were Softex synthetic leather, but they cradled like memory foam. Heated, ventilated, power adjustable, and honestly, more comfortable than some luxury cars we've tested in the past year. We spent the first evening driving through the city bumper to bumper downtown traffic, weaving past impatient rideshares and delivery vans. It was the kind of drive that usually drains your patience and tests your brakes. But here's the first thing nobody tells you about the new Prius. It makes traffic feel peaceful. The regenerative braking is buttery smooth. No jerkiness, no unexpected surges. The low-speed electric glide in EV mode felt like floating through a silent tunnel, and the quietness of the cabin kept our anxiety levels lower than expected. No engine noise, barely any road noise. The 2025 Prius isn't just quiet, it's meditative. Like your stress forgot to come along for the ride. Day 2 brought something different. Rain. Normally, hybrid cars and slick roads don't inspire much confidence. But this one came with Toyota's electronic on-demand all-wheel drive system, and we're here to say it's not just a spec sheet gimmick. Merging onto a rainy highway with puddles on either side, the Prius stayed composed, even when pushed. The grip wasn't dramatic, but it was there, unshakable, predictable. The steering feel, often the weak spot in hybrids, actually responded with decent weight and precision. This wasn't the numb, disconnected drive of Prius past. It was, dare we say it, engaging? And then came day 3 when we decided to stop being gentle with it. This wasn't going to be just a fuel-saving test. We wanted to know, can the Prius be fun? So we left the city, headed for the hills just outside town. Curvy roads, elevation, and open stretches of smooth tarmac. And that's when the second surprise hit. Nobody talks about this car's acceleration. Not seriously. But the 2025 Prius, with its 5th-generation hybrid powertrain and 196 net combined horsepower, doesn't slouch. Hit the gas, and it surges. No turbo lag, no drama. Just instant torque from the electric motors, blending seamlessly with the 2.0 liters engine. Toyota has tuned this hybrid system to feel smooth and strong at the same time. And while it won't rip your face off like a Tesla, it absolutely holds its own. Passing a semi-truck on a 2-lane road didn't even raise our heart rate. 0 to 60 in 7 seconds flat. And more importantly, it felt faster than that. But it's not just the straight line speed that impressed us. It's the balance. The suspension tuned to be both comfortable and planted made backroad driving feel tight and confident. No floatiness, no body roll that made us clench. The low center of gravity, thanks to the battery placement, gave the Prius a grounded feel. We weren't just moving through curves, we were carving them. It was the first time a Prius had ever made us laugh. Not because it was trying to be funny, but because it genuinely delivered driving pleasure. That was not on our bingo card. And here's a detail we never expected to care about: the lighting. The LED signature lights front and rear have this crisp, futuristic glow at night that makes the car look more expensive than it is. The ambient lighting inside, too, was just the right touch, not too flashy, but enough to make night drives feel special. It felt like a quiet luxury sedan. That happened to get 57 miles per gallon. Speaking of which, let's talk fuel economy. We averaged just under 56 mpg across 3 days of mixed driving, including high-speed runs, city stop and go, and even uphill stretches with the AC blasting. We didn't baby the throttle. We didn't hypermole. We just drove. And still, the Prius delivered nearly 600 miles of range on a single tank. That's the kind of real-world efficiency that makes plug-in anxiety feel silly. No cords, no hunting for chargers. Just drive, refuel once, and go again. Easy.by the end of day 3. Something had shifted. We stopped thinking of it as a hybrid. We started thinking of it as a car, a really good car. Not good for a Prius. Not good for a hybrid. Just good. Full stop. It wasn't trying to save the world anymore. It was trying to improve yours. Quietly, subtly, effectively. There's still a lot to talk about: the tech, the quirks, the not-so-perfect moments, and that's where we're headed in Chapter 2. But for now, let's leave it here. In a world full of overhyped crossovers and oversized SUVs, the 2025 Prius showed up with something they all forgot to offer: simplicity, smoothness, sanity. And 3 days in, we were already wondering how we ever judged it so quickly. By the time day 4 rolled around, we were no longer driving the Prius just to evaluate it. We were living in it. It was the day we had errands stacked to the ceiling, a full day of back-to-back grocery runs, hardware store hauls, and a last-minute birthday surprise that had us racing across town in rush-hour chaos. That's the moment most cars start to feel like burdens: stiff, sluggish, and cramped. But not the 2025 Prius. Let's talk cabin comfort, because this is where it quietly flexes. You sink into those ventilated front seats, adjust your 8-way power driver settings, and suddenly, the chaos outside melts a little. The dual-zone climate control? Perfect. No passive-aggressive vent wars with your passenger. And if you've ever fought with touchscreen climate sliders while driving, relax. The Prius blends physical controls with on-screen logic so well that you don't think about it. You just feel it. Then we discovered something most reviews barely mention. This car is practically a mobile workspace. Toyota didn't just throw in a wireless phone charger and call it a day. They put USB-C ports in the right places. They added a smart shelf near the dash where your wallet, keys, or sunglasses naturally land. They gave you a head-up display on higher trims that projects your speed, directions, and alerts directly onto the windshield. No more neck craning at your screen. And that massive 2.3-inch center touchscreen. It became our command center. Whether we were streaming Spotify via wireless Apple CarPlay, navigating unfamiliar streets with real-time traffic, or just letting the JBL 8-speaker sound system drown out city noise, it all worked flawlessly. No lag, no random disconnects, just smart, stable tech. Now about that JBL system, we didn't expect it to impress us as much as it did. But then came day 5, a road trip to the lakeside 2 hours out of town. Just us, some weekend bags, and a playlist. Let's be real. The Prius doesn't have the road trip rep of an SUV. But what people forget is that this car is a space ninja. The hatchback layout gives you 20.3 cubic feet of cargo space, more than enough for 2 full suitcases and a week's worth of snacks. Fold the seats flat, and suddenly, it rivals small crossovers in utility. But here's the real surprise: how good it feels on long drives. The ride quality? Smooth, composed. The new suspension tuning combined with the low center of gravity makes highway cruising feel less like hybrid compromise and more like refined glide. And with the adaptive cruise control and lane tracing assist, both part of Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, we barely had to lift a finger in stop-and-go traffic. It was like having a low-key co-pilot. That road trip revealed something else too. This car doesn't fatigue you. There are cars that try to entertain you every mile. The Prius doesn't beg for your attention, it rewards your trust. It lets you enjoy the journey without turning it into a performance. And by the time we pulled into that lakeside cabin driveway, we realized something had shifted again. We weren't talking about MPGs anymore. We were talking about how this car made us feel safe, supported, strangely, even spoiled. But as with any 7-day test, not everything was perfect. So let's talk about the 3 things nobody warned us about. 1. The rear visibility isn't great. Toyota went for style, and they nailed it. But that swooping rear roofline? That beautiful design choice that makes the Prius look like a concept car? It comes with a price. The rear window is slim. The C-pillars are thick. And during the first few reverse maneuvers, we found ourselves relying entirely on the backup camera and blind spot monitors. Thankfully, those safety systems are excellent. But still, for old-school drivers who love a good over-the-shoulder glance, you're going to need a few days to retrain your instincts. 2. The infotainment menu has a learning curve. The system is gorgeous and fast, no doubt. But here's the truth. The logic behind the touchscreen layout could be better. Want to change audio sources while using Apple CarPlay? You'll need a few taps. Want to adjust cabin settings while navigating? Expect some poking around. It's not frustrating, just not intuitive in every case. The good news? After day 5, we barely noticed. Muscle memory kicked in. Still, if you're not tech-savvy, expect a small adjustment period. 3. Rear headroom is tight for taller folks. Backseat legroom is fine. But headroom in the rear, especially in the Nightshade edition with the available glass roof, is limited. We had 162 passenger comment that the ceiling felt very close. It's not a deal breaker, but if you're regularly hauling tall adults, this is something to test firsthand. And yet, even with those nitpicks, we came away from day 7 with one overwhelming thought. This Prius doesn't feel like a hybrid. It feels like the future quietly arrived and didn't need to brag about it. Because here's what nobody tells you about the 2025 Prius. It's not trying to be the star of your Instagram. It's not here to pretend it's a sports car or a luxury badge with a secret price hike. It's here to make your life easier. To give you peace of mind in rush hour. To give you real MPG numbers that aren't just EPA sticker dreams. To make your morning commute quieter, safer, smoother. To let you enjoy driving again without guilt, without stress, and without constant trips to the gas station. And for all that, it kind of earns the right to be proud. After 7 days, here's what we've learned. You don't have to choose between performance and efficiency anymore. You don't need to plug in to be futuristic. You don't need to drive a status symbol to feel good behind the wheel. Because the 2025 Prius isn't a hybrid trying to blend in. It's a car quietly leading the way for people who value what really matters on the road. And trust us, once you drive it for a week, you'll see what everyone else is still missing.